But anyway, Rob, you and I were looking at some topics to, talk about tonight, and we've talked about there was some skepticism, to put it nicely, about Nikola Jokić, right? He can't be the best player in the world, and things like that.
Who was it? Evan Turner, Chris?
Evan Turner,
who said it was like watching baseball, like watching Jokić was like watching baseball. When totally dismissive of his
right.
ability.
When they lost to Minnesota, he said, "I don't ever want to see him play again.
Yes,
it's like watching baseball." And so we were saying, Rob, look, I think I'm leaning toward picking Dallas to win the championship. If they do win the whether I pick them or not, but if they do win the championship, Rob, do you think there will be an argument? I don't know if I'll feel like Luka's better than
No,
Jokić.
You know why, Chris?
Probably not, but I do think there will be an argument for that. But go ahead.
My only thing immediately is no MVPs. Just no MVPs yet. And I'm not saying that that's the end-all, be-all. But if
to me, that would be more. I hear you.
That's all. I'm just saying.
But
that
I'm
would
just
be
saying
my,
that I would say this about that, because that's fair. But I would say that would be more of a historical rank. Like so if something happened and neither of them could play after this season, Luka wins the championship. Like you said, because Jokić has the 3 MVPs, he would be ranked higher than Luka.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though, right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, could there be an argument that the guy playing the best basketball or the best player in the world right now is Luka Doncic? And let me say this before you answer. If Boston wins, to me, there will be no argument that Jason Tatum is the best player in the world. Would you agree with that?
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I don't think Jason Tatum's good enough. I just don't think he's as good as Jokić.
Oh, wait a minute. You're saying that he is?
I'm saying because my point is,
I missed. If Boston wins?
If Boston wins the championship, do you think there will be an argument that Jason Tatum is the best player in the world?
Oh, I got you. No, there will not be an argument about that. I thought you meant he would be the best player. I was like, okay. That's what I was saying. Okay, I'm with you.
Right, okay. I think if Anthony Edwards has won, I think some people would have tried to make that.
But
I don't think he's better than Jokić. Yeah. We'll see. Is he ever that one day? Who knows? But yeah, but I think Luka, Rob, I do think there could be an argument made. I'm not right now. I feel Jokić. I don't know that I'd say Luka, but they're similar in that, neither one is what we term athletic, right? Nowadays is about athletic is viewed as being able to run fast, very quick, and jump high. And neither of them is that. And we were wondering, Rob, if the people that don't like Jokić and don't think he should be viewed as the best player in the world, do they have the same issue with Luka?
That's a real big question, Chris, on how, because you talk about some of the stuff as good as Luka is and how he's been, questionable at one point, defensively, his body putting on weight. You know what I mean? He's not a leaper. There's a lot of stuff that people can look at Luka. He's a bad boy. We already know about the numbers, Chris, and all that he's put together.
Yep.
But some of the criticism about the Joker, you could criticize Luka about as well. And that's why I just wonder what would be the difference if you weren't that cool with the Joker. How are you going to be cool with Luka? And then the other part is Luka as a guy, one of the all-time greats who's won a championship before. You know what I mean? With him, whereas Luka, the Jokić, Chris, had none of that. Had no all-star on his team. I just when I look at it, I just wonder if people will embrace Luka the way they maybe, not everybody. I'm not trying to paint a generalization brush, but not everybody of the people who didn't embrace the Joker.
No, I hear you. And I think if the Mavericks win it and if it does become a discussion, I think you brought up one point in Jokic's favor, the MVPs. I think now, like you said, neither's great defensively. I think Jokić probably is better defensively just because of his size, but neither's really great defensively. Luka's gotten better. They both, Luka's just putting forth more effort now. And because of his strength, because of his smarts, he's become a decent defender. Jokić, I think, is probably a little more effective on the defensive end. But you brought up what would be a big argument in Jokic's favor, Rob, which is
teammate.
He hasn't had, yeah. I mean, as good as Jamal Murray is, he's not Kyrie Irving. And, Jamal is very clutch. And the other thing about Jamal, Rob, is he's very injury prone. And even during these playoffs, he was banged up. And that, heck, maybe I don't know what he played at. Was he 95%, 90%?
Had he been healthy?
Maybe if he's healthy, right. Maybe they win it. But I do think, Rob, now defense is a legitimate thing if people want to bring that up about Giannis. Because we're talking about if Luka wins, maybe he's the best player in the world. I think these are probably the two best players, Jokić and Luka, in the world. Like, Giannis is better defensively by light years ahead of both of them defensively. But his offense, he doesn't have nearly the offensive skill that they have, Rob. And Embiid's issue is Embiid is phenomenal, but he just can't. I mean, he's banged up every year come playoff time.
Is Luka?
He's never even been to a conference final.
Is Luka likable, Chris, or not? Just your opinion? I haven't heard enough of him to feel.
You're talking about just marketability.
Yeah, marketability. I know you love his game, and we talked about that, so that's not an issue. I'm just talking about likability. Is he? I don't know him enough. I don't know him enough.
I think, and we've talked about this, and some of it probably, Rob, is probably culture. I mean, if I was in a country and learned their language and it was my second or third language, and you know what I mean? Wasn't as comfortable with the culture. I don't know that I'd let my hair down, so to speak. You're probably, at times really just trying to make sure you say the right thing and all that. So that might be somewhat of an issue, but I think he is likable.
Okay.
He certainly hasn't done anything to make him unlikable, right? And I think people might like the trash talk. You saw how he trash talked Rudy Gobert, trash talked the fans after he hit that game winner in game 2. And at the very least, Rob, because you've seen the commercials with Jokić and Peyton Watson, his teammate in Denver, is in them with him. They're at the poolside. They're in a hotel with a horse and all that. At the very least, you could do things like that with Luka, don't you think? Because, Jokić isn't saying a ton. He's just kind of, being there in a very, he says a few things, but, you could do things like that with Luka. So, yeah, I think he's marketable.
Yeah,
the dude is so great that, I think that could override.
Especially if you win.
He's not like Tim Duncan. He's got more personality, don't you think?
Yeah.
Than a Duncan or something.
Tim Duncan was a borderline,
he was very dry.
A wet blanket.
He really, it was, and it's interesting. I didn't know Tim very well or well
I don't know if many people did, Chris, to be honest, other than the people like in San Antonio who were around him all the time. I don't remember that many conversations.
He was a jokester,
really?
With his teammates and all that. But he never let any of that out, right? And he was about as dull as a player gets.
Right.
It was just...
He was just cool being like, not saying much, got his flip-flops on, taking it easy. There was not a peep. I'm telling you, I can't even remember a sound bite from him, Chris. Like... that where I got something or I laughed or you know what I mean? Like, oh, Tim Duncan's glib or nothing. I can't. This whole career, I don't remember anything.
Not at all.
Other than him not being in the game, that game in Miami, like that was about it.
Ray Allen hit that shot.
Yes.
to force Game 7. But yeah, I think I think Luka could be marketable, and I also think, Rob, if he does win the championship, I just think you get a little more comfortable. He's still only 25 years old. Even if you're an American at 25, you might just not be out of your shell yet. You know what I mean? So I would imagine more of his personality would come out. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's marketable. And his game is just incredible, as is Jokic's.